Welcome, everyone, to Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk. And I hope you all are having a wonderful night. And hopefully, you guys are having a wonderful night. And let's get started.
Welcome to Jasmine Pollock's first. Welcome to Jasmine Pollock's First Impression Sports Talk, the fastest growing sports talk show in the country. And now, here's your host, Jasmine Pollock.
Welcome back, everyone, to Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk. I hope you guys are having a wonderful night. To start with the night, we're going to talk about the NFL, and we're going to talk about which rookie quarterback we're going to see first out of the 49ers, out of Bears, and out of the Patriots. So I want to start with you, Eddie. Since you are a Bears fan, do you think we'll see your rookie quarterback out of Ohio State? Are we going to see him first, Justin Fields?
I don't think so. I think there's an outside chance that Mac Jones may or may not start Week 1, depending on who you listen to. But I either way, even if that wasn't the case, I don't think it's going to be Justin Fields first. Trey Lance maybe. I don't. I think we'll probably hold off on Justin Fields until our bye week 10, unless something happens to Andy Dalton. Trey Lance seems like he's got a pretty good line into starting for them. They've got an early bye week. Maybe they wait until then. But Mac Jones seems like he's stating his case for starting Week 1. And with what happened with Cam last week, that from what I've seen, it kind of opened up the door for him to show his worth. And if they decide to go with him Week 1 or Week 2 or Week 3, I wouldn't be surprised. But Cam's a vet. He's a former MVP. He's been to the Super Bowl. You got to at least give him a chance. But Bill Belichick's that kind of guy. He'll make his decision based on how he wants his team to go. So if I had to put my money on anybody, I'd probably say Mac Jones.
For sure. When it comes to Belichick, you never know what he's going to do. You never know. He's just that kind of coach. He's that kind of guy. But I want to go to you, Dad. Do you think we'll see Mac Jones before all the rookie quarterbacks?
Well, that's a tough one, but I do agree with Mac Jones because if you look at what the Patriots like to do, he has a lot of those intangibles that they like, and he's not stinking the place up. He's actually doing pretty well, and right now more than ever, the rookie quarterbacks, they kind of it doesn't seem like there's no longer a situation where they want these guys to sit for a long period of time. These guys are being pushed out there, into the fire quite early. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these guys start Week 1, including Justin Fields. I wouldn't be surprised because they love to see these athletic guys. And like I said, these guys their skill set is a lot better than it used to be as far as what they're able to do, right now. So, no, I think Mac Jones will get the start. And if he doesn't, he definitely will be coming in some point in this season. I really believe that. Probably mid-season.
Yeah, for me, I think Mac Jones, out of all three, I think Mac Jones will start the most because I feel that with Cam, even though I think Cam still has he still has a little bit to prove still, but I think that where Belichick is trying to move, where Belichick is trying to go, he's trying to, I believe, even though he doesn't speak much or doesn't really say much or give the public anything, he's trying to compete with this guy in Tampa right now. So I think that Mac Jones, he will probably start. I will probably see him out of everyone. But for sure, I think, but all the other two, like Justin Fields and Trey Lance, they're very talented guys. They're really, really talented. And I saw a lot of good things from them in the preseason. So, Jeremiah, do you think Mac Jones will start in the season?
I actually think, yes, that he will start the season. And here's why. Many of the things that's been going on, especially in the Patriots training camp and everything else, especially during preseason, of course, him and Cam Newton, they was kind of going at it when it came to the game before last, when they were kind of battling out for that starting spot. And, Cam looked like the choice. He had that good first half, but Mac Jones, he wasn't, a guy to actually be beat. He was having some darts and everything that's like that. But still, with the relationship when it comes to Cam and also the Patriots, you got to look at this, because they're going through the thing when it comes to him not being vaccinated and everything else, and he's away from the team. So this gives Belichick more leverage to kind of trust more into Mac Jones, which that's what he drafted him for, because that's mostly like the guy that they're trying to more go into. Because I wouldn't mind if they started Cam first and everything else, but to me, I think that Mac Jones is going to be, I think, the ideal one to kind of hit the field first rather than the other three of the rookies that's coming in.
Yeah, for sure. And with that, when you look at Mac Jones, he has a lot of shoes to fill. You know, when he got drafted, people were already projecting him probably going to New England, and he has a big shoes to fill. You know, and there's a huge target on him. So we're going to see what this kid's going to be. But back to you, Edward. Do you think which rookie quarterback that was drafted this year, which team has the best rookie quarterback to you?
Bears. We made a great decision moving up 10 spots and mortgaging our future to I like Justin Fields a lot. I really do. But Zach Wilson is quietly making a name for himself in New York. I don't know if Trevor Lawrence is going to be that guy. He may turn out. Jacksonville's betting on him. They gave away Gardner Minshew for practically nothing. 10 years down the road, who's probably going to be out of these five? Everybody's going to make a comparison. Out of these five, I'd probably say Mac Jones, because he is in a fantastic system. At least in the first couple of years, he's probably going to be the tops out of those five. Him and Justin Fields. I really do think the Bears have found a quarterback that can be that franchise guy, and we've got a ton of weapons. We really don't have a reason now. We could probably bolster our line a little bit, but so can everybody. We're young. But I like the talent, and I like the drive and just the personality of Justin Fields. He seems out of all of them probably the most mature, and just kind of pro ready, based on his experience. But out of those five, I'd put Jones and Fields at the top two in 10 years from now.
Interesting. Well, Dad, he forgot to mention one guy that the Bucs drafted, Kyle Trask from my Florida Gators. Dad, you're a Bucs fan, so tell me about it.
Well, the thing about Trask definitely is not starting anytime soon. But
yes.
He's definitely going to get some much needed, basically some nurturing. And I don't think that's a bad situation to sit behind Tom Brady at this point. The kid's not going to be, thrown out there to the fire. One thing I will say, getting back to Mac Jones, and this could be kind of an issue. Now, if you do put him out there first, and he doesn't perform to the level that you need him to, now you got another situation, because you also got to deal with his confidence, and also how the fans are going to receive that. Is this kid going to be ready for that publicity, both good and bad? And I think, by starting Cam, you run less of a risk. Like if Cam goes out, I hope he goes out and actually plays well. But if you start Cam and he starts to struggle and then you bring him in, then it's a much better look as far as I'm concerned. But if you bring the kid in and throw him to the fire too early, and I know nowadays they're putting these guys out there so quick, and sometimes that can be to their detriment, because it is important for them to actually learn the system. But I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you, with some of these more athletic guys like Trey Lance and like Justin Fields. People are very, very excited to see these guys that can run now. If you look at the league, the athletic quarterback is starting to take over, to be honest with you. And as they start to bring the passing part of their games, refine that a little bit more, I think you're going to see this whole evolution of just athletic quarterbacks everywhere. I mean, the guys like Tom Brady, you're going to start to see that kind of disappear after a while. That's just, my opinion.
That's true. And if you notice, a lot of these QBs that we're seeing, they that were drafted, they have a lot of big arms, big arm guys. Trey Lance, Justin Fields on a good day, Trask, of course, Wilson up in with the Jets. But Jeremiah, to you, do you feel that if the Patriots do start Mac Jones, do you think it would not be a good idea?
If the Patriots start Matt Jones, I feel like it will bring kind of a new destiny inside of New England. Because with them having Cam right now, you don't know what the future is going to be when it comes to the Patriots and everything else. Pam has his great sparks and everything else. But can you say right now that you would trust Cam to take you all the way to the Super Bowl, especially on that team with everybody? He has the experience. He has his good sparks and everything else. He can show a good parts of him, especially the MVP days or back then when he was with Carolina. But I just think that's just not there anymore. And I feel like letting Matt Jones come in and kind of being that new face that kind of New England was looking kind of for after Tom Brady is left, it kind of brings to a different reconstruction, and then you build off of him. He's such a young, a well-mannered guy when it comes to how he does many things on the field, under coming from Alabama and everything else, and under Nick Saban and everything. He knows the ins and outs and just the discipline when it comes to behind. And plus, you have Belichick, another disciplined person. And I think that relationship with them, like, he can kind of get closer and he can understand the mindset that Belichick wants him to go and kind of what the team needs him to do going down the road.
And not to mention, he came from a system with Nick Saban in Alabama winning a championship and finishing second in the Heisman Trophy race. So I'm really excited to see these young quarterbacks this upcoming season. If we do see them, I'm really excited for their futures. But we're going to take a quick break here on Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk. We'll be right back.
Water. It's everywhere. We drink it, we bathe with it, we cook with it. Coffee's made with water. Toilets won't flush without it. It's used for washing clothes, dishes, utensils, pots, pans, floors, and our teeth. Plants and crops need water, animals drink it, and fish need it too. And don't forget, we can have a lot of fun in the water. Water. What would we do without it? You're watching Jasmine Pollock's First Impression Sports Talk. Stay in touch with Jasmine on her social media channels to see videos, featured guest interviews, and much more. Find Jasmine on LinkedIn by searching Jasmine Pollock. On Instagram, it's at GameSpace_sports. And you can find Jasmine on YouTube by searching GameSpace Sports Content. First Impression Sports Talk airs each Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can see the show live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. If you missed the live show, we have you covered. A recorded version is always available on social media. And now, back to more First Impression Sports Talk.
Welcome back to Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk. I'm your host, Jasmine Pollock, and we're going to look into some NFL preseasons, and let's take a look at this highlight reel. In this week's highlights, we'll focus on two teams, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Green Bay Packers. First, for the Bucs, it was the Bucs versus the Houston Texans. The Bucs had two 90-yard drives for touchdowns in the first quarter. Here's the first one. Tom Brady throws a 24-yard touchdown pass to Chris Godwin. This put them up 6-0. About the only thing that didn't go right on that drive was the extra point. It was blocked. Now, let's fast forward to the third quarter. Kyle Trask, the second-round draft pick from my Florida Gators, throws a 20-yard touchdown pass to tight end Corey McElroy. The Bucs look good in a 23-10 win over the Houston Texans. Okay, you know my favorite team is the Green Bay Packers. They didn't look good against the Buffalo Bills. I mean, the Pack looked awful. Bills' opening drive, Josh Allen fires a 31-yard touchdown pass to Gabriel Davis. Bills up 7-0. And Packers fans, it just didn't get any better. Take a look. Still in the first quarter, Jordan Love scrambles and just throws it up for grabs in the end zone. The Bills' Micah Hyde intercepts it, a former Packer. Okay, so I think you get it. There weren't any Packers highlights. Good thing is the preseason and these games don't count. The Bills went on to win 19-0. This is Jasmine from Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk, and those were the NFL preseason highlights. I get to see you guys here on Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk Monday at 8 p.m. Welcome back, everyone, and those were the NFL preseason highlights for this past weekend. Heading into the next segment, we're going to talk about Russell Westbrook. Now, we know that Russell Westbrook is one of the great point guards in this league today that we've seen. And he was recently traded to the LA Lakers to compete with LeBron James and Anthony Davis to compete with the championship. Now, there's always the question of, will this fit work? That's been the question since this trade has happened. We're going to see this upcoming season. So to start with you, Dad, do you think Russell Westbrook is overrated? Do you think that Russell Westbrook is he's underappreciated? And do you think that this fit can work with the Lakers?
Well, first and foremost, I'll say I definitely don't think Russell Westbrook is overrated, and that he consistently he's getting paid, so I don't think he's overrated at all. I think he's one of the most athletic, strong point guards that we've seen in the league. Kind of fits an old school mode, very explosive guy. The only thing is what Russell Westbrook is the Lakers getting now. With LeBron, if you notice that throughout his career, he's been able to get the best out of key players, and I do think that this is going to do wonders for Westbrook's career, because now he has to understand what's at stake here, and I think just the way LeBron plays the game is going to change him, because is it going to be a situation where LeBron is bringing the ball up the court? Is he going to be the traditional point guard? Or is it going to be Russell Westbrook, or are they going to share that load? I think that's the biggest question. And now with the rumors of Rajon Rondo coming back, who I think's the best fit for the Lakers, because he knows how to operate the offense on a level without having to score at a high level, but he's a consistent scorer when he needs to. I think that's going to be the bigger question, is how is that all going to fit? I think they have the pieces, but it's just what Russell Westbrook are they getting? But I think him in his in his normal form, he's really good. So I don't think it's going to be a bad thing. I think it's going to be really good.
I agree, and I think when it comes to Russell Westbrook, I don't think he's overrated. I think he's one of the best players that we have in this league, and he constantly plays with effort, he plays with energy, and he puts 110% on that court when he does play. Yes, there's times where he has inconsistent moments as far as his shooting. He's not the best shooter, but far as universally playing, he averages a triple-double. The man is ridiculous. So I feel that we're still going to see what type of Russell Westbrook we're going to get with LA. It's a pretty stacked team from top to bottom, and then you add Rondo. It's a good fit, adding Rondo. Like, I agree with you, Dad, on that. But Eddie, do you think that Russell Westbrook gets a bad rap in the league?
I don't think so. I look at what Russell Westbrook, and I kind of, if I wanted to make a comparison to the NBA that I grew up in the 90s that I love, is it would be, to me, it's kind of like watching Rodman join the Bulls, because like both of those guys are so crazy talented, unbelievable athletes, unbelievable motors. Those guys can play basketball for days and you'll never ever stop them. But it's like, if everybody looks at a Rorschach ink blot and everybody sees a butterfly, these two guys are seeing like three bunnies beat up a turtle. You know what I mean? Like they see the world differently. And I don't know if LeBron is a strong enough leader like Michael was to corral Dennis Rodman to the point to where they can win 3 straight titles. Like I don't know if LeBron is that strong to be able to corral Russell Westbrook, because he does seem like he can get a little erratic, a little wild at times. But I mean, the guy wanted to average a triple double for the year, and he did it. He did it a few times, and now he just does it for fun. Like he's a talent, and he's a gold mine of a point guard. But there's a reason why he hasn't been on a championship team either. Is it him, or is it every other team? Usually when you see a consistent problem over a span of things, maybe it's that person, not 9 different situations. I would like to see him be successful. I don't want to see him be successful in LA just because I don't like LeBron, but hopefully he can at least get a championship.
Yeah, I really, and what LeBron has, he has everyone's wanting to see Melo and Russell get them a ring. So we're going to definitely see. So to you, Jeremiah, do you think what Eddie was saying, do you think that Westbrook, do you think it was Westbrook's fault that a lot of this stuff happened with him not being successful with other teams?
To me, Jasmine, I would say really no, because let's kind of go down his timeline when it came to everything that's like that. Let's first start at OKC. I'm going to tell you who's the real leader on that team. I would say it was Westbrook. Not saying he was the best leader, but at the same time, he was the one to take charge. That's why when it came to OKC and a lot of different things, he was more beloved a little bit more than kind of KD was. Because it was a certain point that Russell kind of stepped in and just be like, although he probably just doesn't take the greatest shots. He doesn't probably make the greatest pass at the certain points and, wants to take over, but he at least does saying, give me the ball. I want this moment and everything else like that. And then when he left and then he went to the Houston Rockets and everything else, that thing wasn't going to clash good at itself because, of course, James Harden, he is a very ball dominant guy. And I already knew with him and Russell Westbrook, it was going to be something with butting heads because both of those guys, and you already know how James Harden record is when it comes to previous people and wanting to take lead. He doesn't do well when it comes to that. He doesn't really take well to being taking a seat back to somebody else, just coming in and just let him take over for a little bit. And I felt like even when he went to Washington with everything, of course it was a young team, but I can see him now when it comes to the Lakers, how he can adjust and kind of learn to kind of be a little bit, I can see him bringing up the ball, but at the same time, I see him playing in a different position today where he's playing more off the ball. Work, but in the same time, I know that when it comes to Westbrook, I think that LeBron next to him, I feel like they can adjust when it comes to those things. With them just kind of feeding off of each other's mindsets and not kind of stepping over each other's shoes, because it has to be down to the thing of, I want to win, and knowing your position before you step on that court. It's not, about who's going to get the most and everything, because I already know Russell Westbrook, he is a dynamic dude. He will get you a triple-double. He has multiple triple-doubles through seasons. So I know that he can get you buckets and everything else. Now it just goes on to here to just say, as this new part that's coming in, you need to play a new role and you need to actually learn from this and kind of adjust. So that's just going to be the big thing of this year, is just adjusting.
Definitely, I agree with that sentiment. And I want to go back to you, Dab. Eddie mentioned something. You're a Michael Jordan fan, right, Dab? So we said before, we always have these GOAT talks and stuff like that. Do you feel that LeBron can keep Russell Westbrook in line? Do you think that LeBron has that, has that ability to keep Russell Westbrook in line? Going to Dad. Well, we're going to go to you, Eddie. What do you think? Back to you, Eddie. So you said before that you don't think that LeBron can. What makes you think that, being that you saw over the course of LeBron's career, do you think he can't do that? Why would you say that?
Well, because I think with Russell Westbrook, with Dennis Rodman, with those kind of guys, you can't. It's not about control. The more you try to control them, the harder it's going to be. I just see those guys as you've got to get them. You've got to get them directed in the right, direct their energy in the right direction. You know what I mean? You got to point them in the right direction. and just let them go, because if you want a Russell Wilson that's going to just kind of blend into everyone, then maybe you're not going to get the Russell Wilson or a Russell Westbrook that can hang a triple double at any minute. You know what I mean? If you're going to ask him to pull back a little bit, then you're not going to get his full effort, because he's a one notch kind of guy. You know what I mean? He's just go, and he plays. I just think that's his nature. Yeah, you can talk to him and you can scheme and game plan and all those things, but I think once you get into the heat of the game, like that, to a certain extent, that goes out the window, and he wants to win. I don't know if LeBron can match his intensity and direct his intensity. I don't know if he's ever played with somebody who plays as intense as he does. Like, if Michael Jordan was the most fierce competitor you could find. So, dealing with somebody like Rodman and getting him to understand, hey, look, I want you to go get 20, 25 rebounds. I want you to harass the hell out of anybody that's in the paint, but I need you to do it this way so that we can win multiple championships. Then, you're not limiting Dennis Rodman. You're just saying, hey, just do it. Go this way with all of your energy. Just go that way. We need it. We need all of it, but just do it, over here instead of, looking to the right or whatever. Like that's what I meant. I don't know if LeBron is strong enough to lead somebody that's as intense and match his intensity on the floor, because I mean, LeBron is, he's at the end of his career, man. And I think it's great if adding him to the mix, it allows LeBron not to have to bring the ball up, allows him to just, lollygag like he usually does. And he can lay back, doesn't have to play defense. And, he'll be available for every fast break. But I don't know if he's that leader. I just don't think he's the leader that Michael Jordan was.
Yeah, we'll definitely see when it comes to the season. I think it's a lot to look for. There's so much going on in the NBA that I'm really looking forward to. But that wraps up tonight's show. I want to thank all of my guests for joining me today and giving their insight about these topics. I really enjoyed it. And definitely, I want to see you guys next week to talk about, is Deshaun Watson going to the Dolphins? Will he be traded? So that's something to look forward to. See you guys here on Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk next week at 8 p.m. Have a good night.